Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw Daddy Hour, hosted by yours truly, Raw Daddy himself. This is the first episode of our official Season 1 release, so I want to thank everybody for joining in and looking forward to a great episode. Let me introduce you guys to my guests. On my left, I have Miss Nataly, and on my far left, I have Miss Tsion. So, Nataly, I'm going to have you start it off by telling the people a little bit about yourself.
My name is Nataly, and I am a mother, and just a local from UK. I don't know what to say.
Tsion, you can tell the people a little bit about yourself.
I'm Tsion. I met him during modeling. One of our video shoot, I do modeling. Also a little bit of the creative side, as well as I own a boutique.
So today we're going to be talking about mental health, the state of mental health as we see it right now, kind of some of the things that go on in the world today that promote bad mental health, and some things that we think we could do to kind of help people through their mental health, and some advice that we could give people. So first, I want to start off with you, Nataly. When you hear the phrase mental health, what does that mean to you?
There's a negative and a positive stigma on mental health. So I think when you hear mental health, some people look at it as like they're crazy or they're going through issues. And the positive is like somebody's doing work. So there's just a stigma in it. There's two different sides. So it depends on how you see it.
Tsion, I'll ask you the same question.
It's the same thing she said, but especially right now with social media and society, like when you mention mental health, it's something that you have to work on, and you have to put it out there for people to know. Something you can work on yourself, by yourself, like in private. I feel like mental health is not something that you just talk about, it's something you do.
Do you think that's a good thing, though, that it's not something that we talk about?
No, it's not at all. Yeah, especially in our society, right? Like in the black and brown community, we don't even talk about it. We don't mention it because if you have mental health, it's like
It's not normal.
it's not normal. You're not normal. Like working on your mental health is something that's not normal. I feel like the new generation is changing that. We're breaking that.
The barrier
Yes.
of getting to work
Yeah.
on yourself.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like maybe now it's kind of changed a little bit, but in recent years, mental health was very foreign. It was very dismissed, especially from people's parents. You know, children weren't allowed to go through things. They weren't allowed to feel. I think now it's starting to gain some traction, but I still think there's a lot of gray area and a lot of unknown in terms of how to fix your mental health. I think we can all kind of realize and understand when we are feeling off or when we are in a state of concern, so to speak, but we don't necessarily know the steps to fixing it because, like you guys said, when we were younger, we didn't have those opportunities to really voice it and talk through it. And I think it's one of those things that you have to talk through. I've tried to help myself just by myself alone, like in a corner. And me personally, I found that doesn't really work the best always. I do believe it's something that we should kind of talk through. Nataly, I want to ask, what are some things that you've maybe experienced in your journey of life that kind of sculpted your viewpoint on mental health?
So, like she said earlier, and you're growing up in a home of Latinos, mental health, if you talk about how you feel, even though it's Latinos have a lot of feeling, if you talk about how you feel, it's not normal. You're not strong enough, you're being weak. But what helped me is actually sitting in my feelings. Because I feel when you sit in your feelings, you're going through the process of breaking through those feelings. A lot of people tell you, toughen up, or it'll pass, you'll get over it. I can't pass this unless I sit on it and feel everything, anger, sadness, whatever it is. And one thing that also helped me was therapy. I think you need to seek help, not just sit on it by yourself. Because when you sit by yourself, I'm an overthinker, So I go in different scenarios, different things, and that's dangerous. So I think you need to speak it out with somebody who's not judgmental and understanding and will guide you through that breakthrough.
Tsion, have there been any experiences in your life that kind of helped you to gain a grasp on your mental health?
Absolutely. Like growing up in an African household, we don't ever acknowledge that. Like depression doesn't exist. That's an American thing. You know, like it does not exist in that household. Anxiety, none of that exists. And going through depression, like a lot of suicidal thoughts, like just going through a lot of that stage, like at an early age, I had to seek help, not from like the people around me, like they're not acknowledging it, like they don't even think it exists. To this day, it's like a really hard thing to do, to explain. But I think like around when I turned maybe 24, 25, I started going to therapy, which helped me, like just acknowledging that I have a problem that I have to work on. The thing about us is sometimes we depend on the people that are around us, like talking to them, like we think that helps. No, people are just gonna be there for us. We just have to go out there and like seek help and get the professional help that we need and actually talk it out to those people so they can help us. Yeah, not like actually discussing my problem like with my friends can be just I had a discussion, but when you're talking to a professional, you're working through it because they're giving you advice on how to get through things. So
I think that's a very big piece, is when you're working with someone giving you actionable steps that you can take. I think there's validity in, you know, like talking to your friends, having that good close friend group of people that are an ear for you and are willing to listen and willing to kind of help you work through your problems. But from a black male's perspective, mental health, at least growing up, was kind of the toughen up piece that you were talking about was very, and even if it wasn't directly spoken to you, it was more of a felt type of thing. It was like you felt inferior if you had these issues or if you acknowledged these issues. So it was kind of just like, bury all this shit until I don't have any more ground and that I can dig. Like this hole can't get any deeper. And the problem with that for me was, as I started to get into my mid-20s, it just surfaced. Like it all was just like, nah, we getting out of here. Like we about to come all the way up into your dome piece. And I'm an overthinker too. Like if I sit too long on something, like I'm gonna think of 150 million thousand different directions that it can go, and I'm just gonna give it too much, you know. So I haven't necessarily done the therapy piece yet. That is something that I want to do, that I look forward to doing, because I do want to hear an unbiased opinion of like what's going on in my head. I think it was you that said, I think that's very key to the healing process, is not talking to someone who feels that what you're thinking is inferior, or that has their own biases about you, or even themselves, that can't just look at what you're saying, diagnose that, dissect it, and say, okay, these are the steps that we need to take in order to fix it.
It isn't even only that, it's the fact that this professional, you could sit there for hours with them, and this professional will guide you through what you're going through.
And to the root of your problem, like the root where it started, like
exactly.
Just acknowledging that.
Because a lot of like mental health is generational. And you don't see it because your parents were in survival mode. And all you're doing as a grown-up, because of that, you're in survival mode in your head. So once you get out of survival mode in your head, you're able to hear everything. You're able to move with integrity. You're able to move with morality and not caring what anybody else thinks. So I think that a lot of mental health is because of the fact that we're stuck on survival mode in our own heads.
So you're a mother, and I want to go into what precautions, or maybe not precautions, what steps are you taking with your daughter in order to ensure that she grows up in a household that is conducive for her talking about her emotions and working through them?
Open and honest. With my daughter, I'm very open and honest with my feelings, not like my parents, they hid a lot of them. So I'm very open and honest with her, and I let her be open and honest with me. There's times that I need to check myself because I see a lot of what my parents did, me doing again. And I just have to cut that. I'm like, yo, step back. Like, you're judging her just like your mother judged you. So it's just being cautious, open, and honest.
So, Tsion, you said you went through the therapy, right? And it helped you through in your early 20s. What do you do now to make sure that you don't have those same lapses that you may have had back then?
It's a long process. It's like something that you work on constantly, right? Like every time I feel like I'm going back or like I'm hitting that rock bottom, I go back to therapy. Like I have the same lady that I go back to. I talk to her about my problems, what start, like you always have like something that will
Trigger you.
Like
So
you're
therapy's
just
not
like
a you graduate and then you're done.
oh no,
No,
no.
no.
It's a constant work. Like you will get triggered because you had so much trauma growing up. If you had so much trauma growing up, that's just like the little things that would happen in your life, and you just don't know when you're hitting it. Like when you're going there, and you just like you have to realize when you're, losing yourself and be like, okay, I don't feel that peace anymore. I don't feel that freedom anymore. So I need to get back to working towards that peace again. And you just have to constantly work on that. Like I started meditating and, doing all that. It helps a lot. Just being having a positive mindset. I'm a laugher, so I'm always making fun of something. I'll make fun of any situation to make myself laugh.
Yeah, it's progression, not perfection.
Yeah. Literally what she said.
Oh my goodness, the Sag on Sag connection is real. Nataly, I want to ask if you could give some advice to someone maybe who is in a dark place and they want to get out. Maybe they don't have the support of those around them. What are some steps that they can start to take to kind of, like you're saying, sit in those emotions, kind of know what you're feeling? I think a lot of people don't know what they're feeling. They feel something, they can acknowledge they feel it, but they don't know what they're feeling. So how would you guide them?
So one thing for me, it's okay to not know what you're feeling. It's okay to sit through and go through it. Like, for me, when I feel sad, I just go ahead and play some good music, something that will bring you out of it. And then when you're out of it, like at that moment, sit down and think, like, why was I feeling that a couple of minutes ago, and why did this make me feel better? So I feel like when you're in a dark hole, the best thing to do is just find something that will bring joy quickly. And after bringing that joy, try to go back and understand why you felt like that, what made you feel like that. Not everybody has resources to go to therapy, because I really think that speaking those things, it will help you. But like I said, you just got to find something that will bring joy in some way.
So, Tsion, you mentioned social media earlier. I want to touch on what are some things that you see that are kind of pushing negative mental health onto people? Maybe things you might see on social media, things going on in society. What kind of factors do you think are at play right now?
You need another episode for that.
Yeah, a lot.
Because society, social media especially, like the pictures, the videos, people, you're never doing anything right? Like if you do something today, let me post a picture of what's going on in the country right now about COVID, and then you should wear your mask, right? If I post about masks, somebody's gonna disagree with me about wearing mask, and they'll come with their own. Nobody's right now, and instead of saying that's your opinion, we fight each other, and we're like making each other feel less than the other person, which is not okay. And that's like what's constantly going on social media, is like, no, my idea is better than yours, no, my opinion is right and you're not. And I feel like that just goes on and on and on, and like judging people, like I don't
Brings
care
a lot
about
of trauma and triggers in people when you're
a lot
in social media. It's another thing that I think that people should do. They should just, when you're feeling down and you're in your feelings, move all that social stuff away so you're able to have a clear mind to make a decision. Because a lot of that triggers something to make a decision. It might be the wrong one. So I think that there's no understanding in social media. And that's why there's a lot of mental health. Because nobody, though it seems like, oh, you understand me, or she's being vulnerable, or oh, like this looks perfect, there's no real clear cut energy understanding, like one-on-one understanding. So I could say something and some, like she said, somebody might take it the wrong way, but you're not understanding why I'm saying it or where it came from. So that's the big issue about it being in there. That's why there's a lot of mental health problems in there.
So I think that's the removing social media piece is easier for us who didn't grow up in social media, but how, or I guess what steps do you take for, because your daughter grew up in, or she's growing up in social media. Since she's been born, there has been some sort of, or at least since she's been cognitively, around in this earth, there's been some sort of social media. So how do you combat that for people who this is all they know? A phone is just as, like how we used to play outside, they play on the phone.
Yeah, I feel so. The problem right now with human in general is that we are consuming too much information, right? I don't think we're built to consume this much information because social media is there. If social media is not there, media like TV's there. If you're not on the internet, you're on TV, on your computer, watching something, seeing something. I do not think we're meant to consume that much information in our life. I always tell people, especially for creatives, it's hard for us to get rid of our Instagram, and it's really hard. I used to be off social media for like a week, just delete everything every month, like once a month for a week, I'll be off social media. Lately, it's been harder than
You've been posting like crazy.
I've been working,
Yeah.
so it's been hard. So I'm like constantly, like I went back to therapy. Like I was like, okay, it's a lot going on. I can't like really, like I couldn't talk. Like I don't know what was going on with me, but like I knew something was wrong. Like I was just not happy. And I went back and like I started working and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see it. Like I'm more into that life now. So everything I'm consuming is just eating me up. So the problem right now is like, I tell the girls that I work with that are like younger than me that grew up in social media, like literally since they were kids, I'd be like, you guys need to get off of that. Like take a minute. Like my coworker took 2 weeks off of social media. Like she deleted everything, and she was like, I've never felt this much peace in my life.
Yeah.
Like it's just the news you consume that you don't think is a problem until it is.
So I'm gonna bring my mommy side because my child does not have any social medias, because I feel like you have to, as a mother, you have to see your child be responsible enough to take the criticism that is they're about to put themselves into. So she does not have one, but for other people that grew up in it, I feel like you need to schedule a time in your day where you're away from all that. Like I have a time that I set in either in the morning or at night. And to me, my time is time with God or time with your higher power, time with yourself, and just distress from all of it that you're taking in. So schedule the time, to me, is just schedule an important time for yourself, an hour, 30 minutes. That's all you need.
I love what you said about creatives and their inability to unplug, because we kind of feel like it is us. And I know for me, it has been definitely peaks and valleys, because for us, a lot of times, it's not necessarily the competitive piece we seek, even when we think we don't, validation. So for us, it's like, all right, I just posted this dope ass video that took me 30 hours to do. I need to get at least 150 likes. So I'm checking until I get it. You know what I mean? I'm checking. So for me, one of the things I did was I don't have notifications on. So if I post something, I just post it and I get off. That way I'm not seeing everything trickle in, the comments
Pressure.
and all that stuff, because they're not negative things, so to speak, the comments and everything, but it's just, why is this the measuring stick for whether or not you did a great job?
Because you apply that to yourself.
Yeah, I do. Exactly. So that is a me problem, and
You just hit it. It's a me problem.
no, it is a me problem, and trying to figure out how to get around it. I do sometimes unplug. So I'll be looking at my little stats on my phone, and it's like your screen time is down like 11% for the week. I'm like, let's get it. Because recently I've rekindled my love with, well, I don't have a love with nature, but just outdoor stuff when it's not like raining or snowing or any precipitation, with my hiking and things like that. So I think that is big. I miss the going outside and playing with your friends culture. Like that, it was so different when we were kids versus like how kids are today. And I work with a lot of these kids. I've talked to a lot of these kids, and they literally cannot get off of these phones or whatever, the video games, whatever. So I do like what you said about social media is not terrible. You just have to have the mental capacity to be on it. And I think if more parenting, because I'm big on parenting, if more parents were able to see, like, okay, know your kid. Maybe your kid doesn't get social media till they're 15. That's fine. They're not missing anything from 0 to 15. You can give them so many other different experiences that can help shape them so that when they do get on social media, it's like, all right, I'm gonna post my video. I know what I'm doing it for. It's for my business. I need to get this interaction, or I'm gonna post a picture of my friends and I out to drink. Doesn't matter who likes it or who doesn't. I wanna post this. And when you're on social media for you, I feel like that matters a ton. Like with your brand, what I love that you guys are doing is you're just creating your own content. You're creating for the sake of, this is what we wanna do. We're loving the brand. We're pushing. You're not over obsessing about like, oh, everything has to be like this. Like y'all are. I'm loving seeing like just how active you guys are. And it, I mean, for at least from the outside looking in, because like you said, you can't get a accurate gauge. It looks fun to me. Like it looks like you guys are having fun, in my opinion.
We fight a lot. Like I punch them sometimes.
I mean,
I'm kidding.
I don't doubt that, but that might be fun to you.
No. Yeah, you're right.
That
I mean,
I
it's a
don't doubt
process
either.
that you learn, right? But social media, like you said, we seek validation. Something that I always tell people about social media is, unless you're confident enough in yourself, do not get on it, because people are going to constantly judge you. People are going to constantly criticize you, whatever you're doing. I'm okay with it. Like, I don't care. That's how you feel.
It's just the work in itself.
Yeah,
the work
like
in
you-
yourself. Like, know thyself. Like, if somebody, you're gonna get judged no matter what. But if I know mentally that I am this person, nobody can tell me anything. I'm gonna move how I want to move. I'm gonna bring the right people that I need to bring, because I know who I am, and whoever loves me will love me for who I am. And that's
Facts.
it.
Big facts. So let's kind of talk about some things that we can do, right, as a society. So like on a major scale, some things that we can do to kind of combat, because social media is not going anywhere, right? This information overload, it's not going anywhere. So what are some things that maybe this is dreaming, right? But Tsion, let's start with you. What's something that you would like to see implemented in society that could kind of help us get a hold on mental health?
For me, acknowledging that you have a problem and not judging each other. Like, if I have a problem, I have a problem. I won't get over it, because that's what we tell each other, right? Like, oh, it'll pass. I have anxiety. It'll pass. You'll be fine. You'll get over it. Actually acknowledge it. Yeah, you're going through something. Let me know if you need anything from me. So just acknowledging things that they, like, for what they exist. Like, anxiety exists. We go through things. Today I might not feel like talking to you. Just respect that and give me that space. And I feel like we just don't give people space. We don't give people enough space at all. Like, we want them to go and go and go and to be perfect on a daily basis. Like, I have to keep the same energy. No, I'm not going to keep the same energy. Today I might be happy, like bubbly. Tomorrow I might not feel the same way. Just respecting that, like giving each other. I feel like at work, that's something that I've established, like with my coworkers and people that work with me. We give each other space. It's okay. You don't want to come into work. You need a mental, take it. And like, that's why I have like a really good relationship with my coworkers, because I don't mind. Like, you can take a mental day. It's okay to have a mental day with me. I'm big on that. And so sometimes they take advantage of it.
It happens.
But I feel like every workplace should have that. Like,
Yeah,
taking
definitely.
a mental day, it's okay. Like, you can call me and say, hey, I can't make it today. Like, I just don't feel like it. And you can be there and you're still not there. So what's the point of you
Exactly.
being at work, right? Like, I need you to actually have that day and just take care of yourself. So
That understanding.
Yeah.
I'd ask you the same question. What would you like to see?
I mean, I'm seeing the same thing as her, understanding. Like, in the world, a lot of understanding helps everything. Like, it's not easy to understand somebody, but have empathy. Sit there with them. Understand, like, when you have empathy, you understand where they're coming from. Like, put yourself in their shoes and give them their space that they need, like she said. Because once you have the space, you're able to connect your own energy, like bring back that energy, fix that aura, fix whatever, and just come back in the world 100% better. So I just think the world needs more empathy and understanding.
I agree with both of you guys. If I could say something tangible that I would like to see, I want to see more unplugged events. So, for instance, we all meet a lot of people on social media, especially when you're as active as some of us are. I've met tons of people off social media. But one of the things that I try to do is meet them in real life. Even if they're, across the country or whatever, I try my best to meet them in real life. And when I do, my goal is to not be on my phone at all. So this is an unplugged moment, right? There could be events where you're a designer, we get all these other different designers, and y'all go to a space, they serve lunch, but you can't have your phone, right? You guys all just have to talk, sit there, learn something new about everybody else in the room. And I think things like that I was forced to do as a kid because I didn't have a phone, like all we did was talk, is lost now. When I meet people in real life sometimes, I'm like, how do you not know how to have a conversation? Why is it like pulling teeth to just talk to you? Like it's not, but we've created this culture with social media that if you're talking to someone in social media is like sliding in the DMs, you want something, or you're trying to hit on them, or there's just an angle to it, right? Whereas when we were younger, it was just, I'm just talking to you because you're right here, and I'm just interested in knowing a little bit more about you. So I think that also feeds into the empathy portion, because with us not having as many person-to-person interactions, we don't even know how to be empathetic. You can't be empathetic over a phone. You can't be empathetic in a comment section. It just doesn't work. You can't put a pulse to a profile picture or a pulse to a username. So if we could increase the amount of person-to-person interactions that we have on this planet, which is, with this COVID stuff, is probably going to go down because a lot of jobs are going to be virtual. Schools, I don't know when they're going to not be virtual anymore. So our kids aren't getting those same interactions that we got. Life has changed. People don't want to admit it or acknowledge it. They think it's going to go back. Life has changed. A lot of things are not going to be what they are anymore. So I think we have to be very intentional with how do we maintain these roots. Humanity does progress, and we love that. But there are certain things that we have to hold on to. The ability to create villages and, communicate properly with one another. Have empathy. Empathy should not be something that dies.
Empathy can be found anywhere, though. You can find empathy with nature. You can sit there and watch this tree. You can have empathy for the tree. Like, it needs to be talked to. It needs water. It needs this. So you're having empathy to have that grow. So now, you can find it anywhere. It just has to be something that you bring out. That's what I believe.
It has to be intentional.
Intentional.
Like you said, whether you're a person that needs to schedule time, whether you're someone that's a little bit more sporadic, right? It does have to be intentional, because if we're not intentional about it, we're not going to do it.
And I totally agree with you about those events without no phones. Yeah. I've actually been to an event with no phone, and to see people interact, actually, they take your phone away, and you just go in this event. There's music and partying and everything, but it's like going back to when there was no cell phones. Actually seeing a dude grab a napkin and look for a pen to ask for your number. That's never happened anymore. Like, that's just like, your intentions are really there. Because you're not getting every number anymore. From, like, yeah.
And call
then
you.
You're actually in the moment, being in the moment. And that brings so much, like, happiness in your health and just in the moment. Nobody knows how to be in it.
When I first started doing all this social media stuff, like, one of my friends, and this was years ago, back when I lived in Michigan, and I used to do a lot of fitness videos of myself. Like, we used to always record. So when you're doing that, you have to plan ahead, right? So I lived in the future. And one of my friends used to always tell me, like, you need to be more present. You're not present. Like, you're never present. And I didn't know what she meant when she was saying it until I started to try to do it. And I was intentional about, okay, when I'm at this place, I'm going to put my phone down. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just not going to be on it. I'm going to try to, absorb this moment and just be here. And it worked wonders. Like, it did amazing things for me. So I love that, because I remember when I first started doing it. So we were kids, we didn't really have phones. Then we had phones for a lot, and then we didn't. And I tried that before, and it was hard at first to like not look at my phone, to be in an event, and when I feel the awkward tension or whatever, to just be able to,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying, just fake check your IG
Yeah.
and just be on there for a second. And to not be able to do that, and to learn how to kind of talk through awkward silences and, all right, well, I can't do nothing right now, so I'm gonna just meet this person. You know what I mean? And having to do that, I feel like it's so important.
No,
like
I just speak up. I say things out loud.
I
It's
do the
bad.
same-
Like
I
I
do
just
the
say it
same
out
thing.
loud. If it's awkward, oh, this is awkward.
I do the same things like what you
Like-
said. Connecting, connecting energy with energy is good for your mental health. You don't understand like how good that interaction is until you're actually doing it. And like I said, just being in that event, I was like, I danced the whole night. I was up till 5 a.m.
Girl, where's that at?
Miami.
Invite me next time.
We can walk.
It's not an ad, but it's called You Had to Be Here.
We're not sponsored.
Not sponsored. But
Hilarious.
seriously, it's that energy, because you feel everybody, not because phones have energy, and you don't feel that your energy, you're feeling this electric energy from somewhere else. So you're out there connecting with real people, you're getting real energy.
You're being in a moment. Like you're not letting like the text that's coming in, like that's distracting you. You're gonna get a text and you're just like your whole mood can change, right? Or you're gonna get a phone call, or you're gonna see a comment. So you're just disconnecting from all that and being in a moment and enjoying that moment and actually living through the moment without letting anything else distract you. So yeah.
That's very true. So here's how I want to end it off. I'm going to start with you. I want to, last words, just give the people one thing that you want them to take away from this conversation in regards to mental health.
Take a break, be in a moment, and enjoy yourself and your peace. That's all I can say.
Short, sweet, to the point. Natalie?
To me, it's okay to have every single emotion. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to feel everything you're feeling. Feel it, go through it, find help, and you're never gonna be perfect. It's progression. You'll just be progressing throughout the years. So it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Nothing is forever.
My advice would be that, or not advice, the one thing that I want people to take away is that you're not alone. You're not the only person that's going through what you're going through. And I don't say that to minimize what you're going through, but I say that to say that, like Natalie said, this too will pass. Everything is not forever. It's okay to feel all the emotions. It's all right to be down. It's okay to take a mental day. It's all right to not be there, even though everybody always wants you to be on. It's okay to be off and voice it. I did not have friends who voiced how they felt until recently. You were one of them, nor being another one who could say to me, all right, today I can't today we can't hang out because I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. And then you, as the person receiving that information, respecting it. So you're not alone. It's okay to voice how you're feeling, and it's okay to feel how you're feeling. That's going to do it for another episode of the Raw Daddy Hour, guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Grandma, you've been holding us down since the pilot season. Your favorite podcast is still here. I want to thank you, ladies, for coming on with me this morning. I appreciate the conversation, and we out.